Hello, and welcome back to the Lombardi Sweep podcast. With me again is Luke Reimer and Trevor Land. And joining us, returning, gracing us with her presence is Janet Wilson. How is it going, everyone?
Going great.
If you're not watching the video, if you're only listening at home, you're really doing yourself a disservice. Luke has a new shirt on and a helmet that's made for elementary school kids, about the size, squeezing his temples. Size. It is Janet's size. You definitely need to be watching Lombardi Sweep Facebook page, Lombardi Sports YouTube page. Do that. Go check Luke out. He's got a shirt rocking the new quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, Blake Bortles, and 3 other scrubs. I'm not even sure whose names they even are. If you're listening to the first time,
Favor. It's Favor, right?
Yeah. It broke. Brett Favre's my favorite player of all time. It broke my heart when he left and all the shirts said, "We'll never forget you, Brent." Like those shirts always broke my heart to see.
Yeah.
Here's in regards to my helmet, here's a picture of me when I was 6 years old with the helmet on.
Yeah, that's about right. We saw for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, that checks out. That seems about right. I think we're broadcasting to a new audience today. So if you are listening to the first time, this is the Lombardi Sweep podcast, a Packers podcast or Flurry Sports podcast all about the Green Bay Packers. My brain is scattered after just doing a fantasy football show, but we will jump right into the Packers show. We had more of Packers OTAs today, so more news. Not big news, as much as some Packers reporters may like for you to believe it is, but we will go over what happened, what people said, what we think about it, react, do our thing, and we should start with the Packers cap. Obviously, June 1st went and has gone by, so salary caps is settled. Some money has been moved around. On top of that, we talked about last week, Dean Lowry having his contract restructured to free up money. We also heard about Robert Tunian's contract. What the Packers did with his contract is they made a portion of it a bonus with 4 automatically voided years. So they split up almost $2 million into 4 years, but voided all 4 years afterwards, and then it's going to be fully guaranteed after the season. So worse in the long run, better for this year. Packers are freeing up money for some reason. Could it be Julio Jones? No, but everyone's going to say that. So as of right now, the Packers have $7.4 million of cap space, ranks 23rd in the NFL. It was more than I thought it would be, to be completely honest. But the Packers actually have money to work with. So, Luke, I'll talk to you before you pass out from your helmet. Are the Packers going to spend this money on a free agent, you think? Or do you think it's going to be used for extensions like Davante Adams, etc.?
From what we've seen this offseason, obviously, they re-signed Aaron Jones, re-signed David Bakhtiari. It seems to me that they freed up this money to lock up Davante Adams. Maybe have some wiggle room with Aaron Rodgers, a new contract there. But I don't see them going out and getting anyone. I don't know, because most of the notable names are, we talked about how many shows now are kind of off the board here. It just seems to me that they're going to re-sign the guys. They seem pretty content with the team that they had last year. Considering they brought them to the NFC Championship, I don't see why they stray away from that now.
I mean, we've been straying away from having a good team for a couple years now. But everybody's talking about Julio Jones going to the Packers. The best Falcons player is still available, and that's Todd Gurley. They saw he had a workouts with the Lions. They figured we need this guy. But it just, we kind of talked about it a little bit last week. It doesn't make sense to clear all the cap now. You had free agency to do this. You wait till now. I don't know what they're going to do with this money. Maybe a trade, but even then, I doubt you can get anybody of substance with the salary you have. So I don't know. It just seems like one of those things where they do it to make the fans happy, make the fans that don't know what they're talking about think they're doing something, when in reality, they're really not helping anything.
Yeah, I have to agree with Luke as well. Are you sure they might want to sign another snapper that we have no idea who he is?
Yeah.
They might be using the money for that. No,
Unfortunately.
I have to agree with Luke. I mean, if they brought in all the other players, Aaron Jones and all that, I think they're just going to do the same thing as far as using it towards Devontae Adams as well.
I think so too. Like, there's a difference between what they should do and what they will do. I think it's pretty obvious there is a difference between that with the Packers with most decisions. What they will do, I think you guys are right. I think they're going to sit on it and or use it for extensions with Adams, with Rodgers, etc., etc. What they should do is address needs, but we haven't really felt the need to do that quite yet. We talked about last show some of the needs. I do have some names. I wrote down a few names before the show. I'm not sure if you guys have any players you specifically think they should reach out to with $7 million, but I think that could go a long ways with some of these veterans. If you guys have any ideas, let me know before I just jump into my list, because I'm not going to stop talking if I do.
I have Marshall Newhouse.
Newhouse could be good.
Because
like
he was
Marshall
already,
Newhouse.
yeah, for that price range, I think, and I looked as far as his injury history. It doesn't look like he has history of any injuries since like 2019.
No.
I know right now he's on the Titans practice squad, so I think he would be good just because he's already been on the team before. And Matt LaFleur spoke a lot about veteran players, and I think he would be a veteran player that would come in and already kind of have that kind of seniority in the locker room.
Strangely enough, I do feel like the Packers do need a little bit of veteran presences, especially with Aaron Rodgers not there, but I don't think they should be adding people with that thought in mind. But yeah, offensive line, they need veterans. They need people all over the board. For positions of need, we talked about last week, and I have it as number one. People are glossing over it, but I still think inside linebacker is a massive need, for the biggest reason being if one person gets hurt, we have three left. Like, that's it. Like, it's just unbelievable that people can ignore that position and just discredit it because of the way NFL defenses have seemingly evolved.
I think Trevor summed it up last week, where us three could go out there and it would provide some sort of help in depth for the Packers linebacker core.
Hell, Packers, sign Luke up. He's already got the helmet. I mean, you don't
He's
even
ready.
need to provide him with that. He's ready to go.
He's down the road. You don't need to pay for room and board. I mean, yeah. But I do think linebacker is a major need, and we can talk about there was more shuffling at OTAs today with inside ones. But I think the second position in need, I think the third safety. Like, I think we have clear starters at free and strong safety. I think the backup between that is extremely weak, especially if the Packers seem adamant on bringing Amos down into the box now. I think there's stuff that needs to happen there. And then defensive line depth, I think, is third. Whether it's inside or edge, I think both depth needs to be addressed. Inside more specifically, though. And then the fourth thing I have listed, which the Packers will absolutely not do, but I think it is a legitimate need, is offensive tackle. And I can get into that a little bit later when we hear about who was playing left tackle today with the ones, because it is more than concerning. But for just really quick, some of the names I have written down who are veterans who are going to be very, very, very cheap. We could legitimately sign three of them and have money left over. I think K'Wan Short is going to be a really good ad for whoever signs him. He was regarded as one of the best interior defensive linemen just a couple of years ago in the entire league. He's had 2 years of injuries, and he hasn't been signed yet. Bring him in for a workout. If he is a rotational piece, he could legitimately be better than Kenny Clark today. And I think someone needs to work him out. He's very good. Same thing with Malik Hooker, who was one of the better young safeties in the entire league for the Colts. Injury, I think he tore his Achilles last year. Obviously, major injury. But you need to at least work him out. And if he's your backup safety and he's willing to sign a 1-year prove-it deal so he can get paid next year, that needs to be something that needs to happen. And for all of these players, I believe most likely every single deal will be a 1-year prove-it deal because that's the way, the year is shaping up, the salary cap's shaping up, yada, yada. For other quick linebacker ones, I have Todd Davis as a cheap veteran linebacker, legitimately maybe a $1 million per year guy, played for the Vikings last year. Good run stopper, not good in coverage. Quan Alexander, obviously injury prone, but when he's healthy, he's good. Packers don't need to be worrying about injuries right now. They need to be worrying about how good their players are when they're healthy. And right now, the Packers linebacking core when healthy is not deep. So he's good. And then Devondre Campbell for the Cardinals, 28-year-old inside linebacker, was a every week starter for the Cardinals. He was cut this offseason to free up salary cap. He's inconsistent as a starter, but if he's a 1-year prove-it guy, which he's going to get from somebody, he would be a day one starter for the Packers, and I think that'd be really good. Then cornerback, if we want to do it, Rashad Breeland's still out there for no reason. We need to bring him back to be a corner. Safety, Kenny Vaccaro is built to be a box safety. He struggles when he's over the top. So if we want to bring safety down like Amos, he would be the perfect backup for that. But hey, what do I know? But that is just a list I have. I didn't have any offensive tackles because the Packers won't do that.
I like what you said, Zach, about Malik Hooker. He's a young guy. I've always been under the impression that if there's like first rounders that are young that are out there, you might as well take a stab at them because they were drafted in the first round for a reason. I think Malik Hooker's a good player. I think it's the same with basketball, but that's for a different story. But Malik Hooker's young. He was range of the field. He had that sick one-handed catch with Indianapolis last year, one-handed interception in the back of the end zone. From what I've seen, the guy's athletic. You can't do much worse as a third safety, as a guy who's drafted to be, a defensive superstar in Indianapolis.
How many times have I said this? But this is concerning. Not only do you not have depth, but you're most likely running a blitz-heavy scheme, which is going to probably get guys hurt more because they're going to be screaming, they're going to get hit, they're going to be laying hits. So to your point, you have $7 million. You have guys like Hooker, Short, and for multiple reasons are still open. Why are you not taking a chance? Like, even if they're injury prone, you need bodies. We've talked about this. So to not only not make a move, but to know your scheme is probably going to get a lot of guys hurt and still not make moves on either side of the ball, it's just mind-boggling at this point.
Have any thoughts, Janet, before we move on to OTAs?
What happened? Do
you see somebody? Us?
Yeah, I
Luke's
see
gone.
you. But,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, he disappeared. I was like, wait, what did I do? Because I unmuted it and my dog was screaming. All right. Not really, honestly. I have to agree with Trevor. Like, I feel like I want them. It's just trying to move pieces on a chessboard and then, like, they're all glued because nobody wants to do anything about it. But yeah, we haven't done anything.
Really quick, Luke, do you see us? Because for some reason I don't see you on the screen, but I see you down here. As long as you see us, that's fine.
I can see and hear you guys. Sorry, my internet just cut off for a minute.
I think his helmet's blocking the Wi-Fi.
Can you guys hear him? Oh, I can't. So I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's not coming through the video. If you want to leave and jump back in, maybe I'll do that. But yeah, the Packers need to make moves, and unfortunately, the Packers are a reactive, not a proactive team, so they're going to be more willing to make a move after an injury has occurred. You look better now. Can you hear us good?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, cool.
Awesome.
Do you have any thoughts before we move on to OTAs? Cool. Because I want to talk about Blake Bortles lighting Kevin King's ass up today, as he should. Because we needed to have at least one quarterback make throws downfield today. And thank God Blake Bortles came to town because it wasn't Jordan Love doing it. Blake Bortles lit up Kevin King, hit undrafted rookie free agent Bailey Gaither down deep, made a diving catch for it apparently. Bailey Gaither, I don't know, undrafted free agent out of San Jose State, apparently impressing. But
San Jose State Spartans, baby, stand up. Let's go. Mountain West Conference, best goddamn conference in football. San Jose State Spartans, best goddamn team from that conference. I'm pretty sure they actually went undefeated this year, at least up to a certain point. So put some respect on the blue and yellow. Just like to throw that in there.
James Jones went to college there.
that was a random thing for you to be passionate about. Like, that was more passion than I was expecting to come.
Hey, you never know. I'm a ticking time bomb. The timer is going down. You just don't know when it's about to go off.
I feel shamed. Like, I feel like you were talking at me there, but that's fine.
You're damn right it was. San Jose State Spartans. Put some respect on their name, man. Come on.
Okay.
We can't put any respect on the Packers, so they're going to be our new team.
Bailey Gaither wasn't very good there. He was fine. He is a good deep threat. He returned like 5 kicks, not for touchdowns, but he was fine at it. He's an okay player. He's a pretty good deep threat, to be completely honest. And hey, if he's making diving catches and catching the football deep, that's more than what Marquez Valdez-Scantling can say. And catching the ball in general is way more than what EQ can say. So,
hey, let me tell you, San Jose State Spartans top 10 plays go together like fine wine and some cheese. Let me tell you.
Do that. Okay. Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to. Bortles was lighting him up. And speaking of another player I love showing out, Shamar Jean-Charles, the nickel corner, who I am just calling at this point. He should be the starting nickel corner. We drafted him in the 5th round, I believe, at Appalachian State. Great corner. Absolutely shut down Amari Rodgers today. And that should be surprising to no person because Shamar Jean-Charles' only weakness is his athleticism. And Amari Rodgers doesn't have an athletic bone in his body. So it makes perfect sense that he shut him down, and it's not getting reported very much. It's not gaining traction. But I think should be enlightening for the people who want to dismiss him as a cornerback and for the people who want to tout up Amari Rodgers as being this amazing gadget player. Or am I looking into it too much?
Nope, my time to shine. Hey, Ben Fennell. Hey, jackass. Yeah, he really looks like Randall Cobb right now, getting locked down by a 6th-round rookie. Get the hell out of here. Blake Bortles the best of all time. If you cannot find, and if he can't find somebody open, hell, he's hitting undrafted San Jose State Spartans down the field. If he can't get open with Blake Bortles as his quarterback, probably not Randall Cobb. Again, nothing against Amari Rodgers, but Shamar Jean-Charles, he's really good, and it's sad that people don't look at his film, don't even look at his stats. Honestly, probably don't even know how to pronounce his name or anything about him. But we've been talking for a while that he's been pretty good, and Zach, you've been leading the charge on that. People are going to need to remember that name because it's going to be popping up one way or another. Especially with, again, injury concerns. If Stokes gets grabby, when Kevin King goes down with an injury, he's probably going to be the next man up. So definitely a name to remember.
Yeah, so Shamar Jean-Charles, I thought that I met him at a Green Bay bar. I did not meet Shamar Jean-Charles. I recently found that out a couple of weekends ago. I went up to who I thought was Shamar Jean-Charles, and we had a conversation. And then he showed me, he gave me his Instagram handle, and I forgot I had it in my notes. So during work today, I went to look at my notes for whatever, and I saw it, and I clicked on it, and it was not Shamar Jean-Charles. I assume that Shamar Jean-Charles is as nice as the guy that I talked to at the bar.
I hope you're wearing your helmet at the bar too, because that's how I'm envisioning it.
But I will say that Shamar Jean-Charles did something that Zach we just talked about with safeties. They drafted him, and he can provide depth at that cornerback spot. Especially, I don't know how likely it is he'll start at that 3 corner to start the year with Shannon Sullivan there, but there is depth there. to Packers corners, Kevin King's had injury history, Chandon Sullivan's injury history. He's a guy that can fill a role when needed. But to the guy at the bar that not Shamar Jean-Charles, I wish you the best, but please don't fool anyone else.
Hey,
did he say he was him or no?
Yeah, I went up to him like, hey, you gotta look like Shamar Jean-Charles.
Hey,
and he said, yeah, that's me. So he duped me.
May I say, is Shamar Jean-Charles the Monty Williams in the NFL? Hey, that's for the OG listeners who listen to Monday's show, but
possibly,
on the
yeah.
channel.
Do you got anything, Janet?
I don't even know what to say about that.
I think
That's really funny.
sounds right. I don't know why, but I feel like that's the perfect ending to that saga. But now here's what we got to do. We got to get you to meet him for real now. Now we got to start a campaign to actually, have this actual meeting. But yeah, I will say, Trevor, before we move on, I don't believe it was Bortles throwing to Amari Rodgers because it was with the ones. Jordan Love was working with the ones. Blake Bortles would have fit the ball in. Trust me, he would have thrown through Shamar's body if he had to. But it's Jordan Love, so
Nah, he wouldn't have thrown the ball. He would have taken the snap, gone back, flipped the ball to the coach, said, "You know what I can do here." Pull out a cigarette and a lighter, kick back in one of those lazy chairs. Be all good.
I want to see Blake Bortles, if they're doing 7-on-7s, I want to see him tucking and running the ball. 40-yard gain every time. Like, hey, it's open, coach. If I see a lane, I'm going to take it. That's what I hope he does. Moving on to the quarterback of the future, Jordan Love. And oh boy, this was a report going around today. And for some reason, the report kind of petered out after I made a weird observation that was very correct. But Jordan Love, almost every single pass he threw was a check down. A report from somebody, I don't remember, it was an irrelevant Packers reporter, said
Bukowski.
Only 2 passes. I don't think it was him. He's not irrelevant. I hate him. But it was only 2 passes they saw of Jordan Love go past 5 yards. And it's not because he was throwing screens or short passes. It was because he was checking down to the running back basically every single time, which, if anyone knows anything about NFL practices and football practices and stuff like that during these offseason programs, the players who check down are typically very, very inexperienced players who don't know what they're doing, and or bad quarterbacks. That's just the consensus from the player side, because of course the check down running back's going to be open in OTAs. Like, they're not covering underneath. They're covering the actual plays that are going to beat them, the actual plays that the coverages are designed for. If you're the BS loser quarterback throwing checkdowns and OTAs and second week, you suck. Like, that's my personal opinion. Trevor, you look like you want to say something.
Yes, I do. It was Bukowski. Bukowski bomb.
The whole checking down, not the whole 2 passes past 5 yards thing.
Oh, yeah, no, okay.
I quoted him, yeah. I wanted to make him feel stupid.
Okay, that's good. Mission complete, as always. But yeah, I mean, I really feel like we're beating a dead horse here, and I think we have to keep doing it because it's important. It goes back to being lazy again. Like you said, There aren't wide receivers there. The hell are you gonna do? Are you gonna put some mannequins, or are you gonna get some random people out there? I would love for them to throw Luke Reimer out there to throw some dots to. That dude can run a route, probably better than Amari Rodgers. But beside the point, that's what's gonna happen. That's how practices work. You don't really have to be a genius to know that. And it's a LaFleur system, so whether the quarterback wants to or not, that's going to be part of the game.
Well, to that point, like what I pointed out with Bukowski and stuff, because every Packers reporter under the sun tweeted something about Jordan Love throwing a lot of checkdowns. Why is Jordan Love throwing checkdowns? Is it because he doesn't know the offense? Is it what LaFleur wanted him to do? Why is he throwing checkdowns? It's way more checkdowns than we thought a starting quarterback would do. And then, we pointed out very lovingly that the 5 returning receivers from last year aren't at OTAs. However, Aaron Jones is there. A.J. Dillon's there. Like the players that are in the Packers offense who would need to develop chemistry with Jordan Love are there running routes and doing whatever. He's probably going to throw to the players that are going to make the team, not, with all due respect, San Jose State's best, whatever his name was. Bailey Gaither, who could make the team. He could. Probably not, but he could.
Could is a weird way to say will, but go on.
He might make it over EQ legitimately or Devin Funchess. There's a legitimate chance if he keeps impressing.
Devin Funchess is number 2. I already forgot his name, but from San Jose State is number 3.
I got you, Trevor. Could is a weird way to say Hall of Fame greatest receiver of all time.
Okay, here we go.
Somebody knows how football works here, Zach, and it may be the helmet being on a little too tight, but you know what? I'm rocking with it.
I'll wrap up Jordan Love here really quick. He ended up in team. He got through against the live defense like we were just talking about. He ended up completing 10 of 17 passes. To say that's not good would be an understatement, especially when we keep talking about he was a check down thrower the entire time. One pass was dropped by the receiver, which was an interception. I didn't see it. I just read it. So I don't know if it was bad placement. I don't know if it was the receiver's fault. I'm not going to talk about that. There was a point where he threw to the running back on 6 of 7 plays. That's just pathetic. He's no good. He sucks. Like, I don't want people telling me Jordan Love is the next Aaron Rodgers, and he has a bunch of Aaron Rodgers in him, and he was super sharp at Utah State where he sucked. You can look at any tape you watched him play. I'm done with it. Like, Blake Bortles is the 2, Jordan Love's the 3.
Especially, hey, I mean, I will say it is tough when you have to go up against the San Jose State Spartans once a year. But
right, yeah, he had to play them.
You'd think, even no matter what way you frame it, this is bad on Jordan Love, right? Because if they called the checkdowns for him, it's his second year in the NFL. He doesn't want to prove anything. Like, he doesn't want to take just a deep shot, And if they are calling deep shots and he's just doing checkdowns, then obviously he has no confidence in his arm. So no matter what happened, what was called, this is horrible. This is bad if you're looking at him as an NFL quarterback.
And you know who didn't shy away from taking a deep shot? Say it.
Blake Bortles to my boy from San Jose State.
Like, he fucking ripped it. He let it go, and he completed the pass on Kevin King, who he knew's a bitch.
Who caught it?
Bailey something.
Where's he from? Where's he from?
San Jose State, because that's the only thing you remember.
Spartans, baby. That is 100% correct. But you know what? We're going to get that man on this podcast, and we're going to show him some love because he deserves it. Because honestly, he might be the best wide receiver we have right now. And that is not an over-exaggeration because nobody else is showing up.
That's very true.
I'm going to be like 100% honest because I was herding cats this past month. So I didn't get to like catch up and read up on any of that. But when I watched Matt's presser, I was reading his body language, and I felt like every time he spoke about any other player other than Love, he like had this like confidence, and he was like, yeah. And then when it came to Love, he was like, he just straight face, still got a lot to learn. So I don't know. That's what I got of it. So when you're saying right now is making total sense of why he was giving that kind of body language to, questions about Love.
It's one of those things where you're dating somebody and maybe you're in a relationship for a couple years, okay? Like, things are going pretty well. You feel content, and all of a sudden, like, oh, I'm just going to go out with my friends. It's fine. Like, you stay at home, I'm going to go out with my friends. And then you go to the bar, and there's Blake Bortles, like the love of your life. And all of a sudden, you have to go back. You're like, clearly he's the one. Like, clearly that's the guy. Like, I don't know what else to do. Like, do it. Yeah. I mean, I love Jordan Love, but I mean, it's Blake Bortles. That's what he's doing, and I can't blame him, Like he's probably not confident about Rodgers at this point.
I disagree.
Nothing to update. I don't know. We will see. That just freaked me out.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree with that take. I disagree with that take, Zach. It's not at all like that because if Jordan Love was in a relationship, they would be single their whole lives because nobody likes them and they're overrated and they don't bring anything to the table. But beside the point, I love imagining Blake Bortles in a bar somewhere, lonely. And I love the imagery of Zach walking in, his breath is taken away, getting on the heart going, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, Mr. Bortles." As he blurts out, "Mr. Love My Life." Oh, that wasn't me. Scrambling, drop stuff all over the place.
Yeah. Pretend to trip so I can touch his pec, stuff like that. Yeah.
See what the Packers do? They make so many bad decisions. We are talking about San Jose State. We are talking about meeting Blake Bortles in a bar, just randomly fondling quarterbacks' pecs.
Luke, was that actually Blake Bortles or no? Luke, was that Blake Bortles in the bar?
It might have been.
Was it really him though?
I will meet Blake Bortles in a bar. I guarantee it.
Luke, how many beers did you have when you bet Shamar being charged? That's my question.
I don't know if beer was a factor. Rather, it was a vodka Red Bulls.
Okay. Yeah. There you go.
This dude was 100% definitely a white receiver on the Packers that just wanted to screw with them and picked up the most unlookalikable player. That's not even a word, but
I'm pretty damn sure it was him, but I guess not.
Yeah,
maybe.
I went to Austin on Saturday night. I was in Austin all night, and then I get home because I didn't drink vodka Red Bulls, but I drank my whiskey that night. So I got home just to look at my phone, and David Bakhtiari was in the same vicinity as I was, and I probably missed him because I had drinking way too much whiskey that night.
Janet, with all due respect, you would have found a way to drunkenly stumble into his broken or hurt knee, destroyed him, destroyed the season, destroyed any chance of Lombardi sweep getting a person on the podcast.
I totally would. No, but I would have probably, imagine if I would have missed him. Imagine if I would have met him. Jesus, I was so sad.
I'll tell you what, David Bakhtiari would not have forgotten it. That's for sure.
True.
I'd be like, listen to our podcast.
Speaking of David Bakhtiari, let's use that as a segue to talk about him. He actually showed up to OTAs today working on the side, looked pretty good. Video of him doing some, jumping stuff. He actually looked really good. And, knock on wood, just looking at what he's doing, I'm actually kind of cautiously optimistic he's going to be ready for week 1, which is very good. And if not week 1, he's going to be ready early, which is a good thing for a guy that size to come back from an ACL injury that quickly. Very good. And it's even better because let's talk about who's at left tackle today. Elton Jenkins not there, undisclosed, nobody knows why. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Doesn't need to be there. Ben Braden was our left tackle today. So good thing. Not great. Undrafted player from 2017. Good thing we drafted all of these tackles that we want to convert to guard because now that we have a tackle open, we're like, let's get Ben Braden in there. Good God. That's who we need. If that means, theoretically, if the Packers stroll into week 1, Bakhtiari not ready, and then Jenkins goes down injured, we have Ben Braden protecting the blind side for whoever's at quarterback. And that's why I listed offensive tackle as a position of need, because we don't have any depth at that position. We legitimately have one offensive tackle on the team, and that's Bakhtiari. Billy Turner is a swing tackle. He can do that. Jenkins also can do that, but we have one true tackle, and that's it.
What college did he go to?
I'll let you know. I hope it's San Jose State.
It's San Jose State.
I think it's Michigan. Okay.
Michigan has some good guys.
Michigan, yeah.
The name isn't very convincing. I'm not I'm sorry. You can usually tell if somebody's going to be a bust by their name, and that does not tell me he's going to be good.
Yeah, I agree, Trevor. I'm not a big two first name guy when a guy has two first names. The only exception is Carmelo Anthony, when in reality he only has one first name because Carmelo is not a first name. But you can't trust guys with two first names in their name.
Very true.
To your point, about Bakhtiari, I think didn't Adrian Peterson kind of do the same thing? Torn ACL, came back by like week 1, and obviously Bakhtiari has a lot more weight on those legs, so it's a whole different ball game. But running back, they're not off their feet all the time either. So it gives you some hope that if AP can do it with all the medicine advancements, I'm sure he's not doing anything but sitting at home drinking, rehabbing. So that sounds like a good thing. And the earlier he comes back, and that could be good too, because looking at the schedule, the Packers' schedule gets really tough middle of the season with those defenses. So if you can, cautiously hold him out till he's 100% by that time, that's even better instead of what we were thinking of before, maybe getting back, 75% by that time.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we know the the repair and everything on ACLs has really sped up and improved even just over the past 5 years. Like, it's ridiculous. I was just cautious because he is a big guy and offensive tackles do have to plant off it and, all of that. But yeah, he seems honestly pretty close to ready to participate in team drills, which is a good thing. Only other thing before we get to the press conferences is a switch at inside linebacker that doesn't make me happy today. At starting ones, Kamal Martin was replaced by Ty Summers as one of the starting inside backers. And who knows? Like, we shouldn't overreact to it because it's OTAs. Maybe they're just trying a package. Who knows? But it was the ones playing against the ones. I just believe Kamal Martin is clearly the best of the entire group. But what do I know? What do you guys know? Let me know.
This seems like a situation where Packers kind of know that they need good inside linebacker play. I think they're just rolling Kamal Martin out, getting Ty Summers in just to see what he can do against the ones. I don't think there's anything to read into. Obviously, we've seen Ty Summers play. We've seen Kamal Martin play. It makes a lot more sense that Kamal Martin starts. But I'm just wondering if this is just a Ty Summers. Just go out there, see what you can do for a couple plays, see what you can do for a practice, and hopefully we can see something good. We can at least be a little more happy about the depth that we have at inside linebacker.
Or I think it's a very real possibility the Packers are trying to trick Aaron Rodgers into thinking Ty Schmidt from Pat McAfee is on the team. Probably get him back. But yeah, I mean, it's still early. For as incompetent as the Packers are, I don't think they're that incompetent. Not that Ty Summers is bad. We've talked about he's more than capable, but Kamal Martin is definitely a number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that because their practices, they're just filling in. I know I saw also Lucas Patrick's presser. He was saying how like they're just using guys and seeing what kind of abilities they have right now, just because a lot of the veterans are not there right now.
Yeah, and let's use that to talk about Lucas Patrick's presser. There were 3 players who had a press conference today. Tunian had like a private one, then it was AJ Dillon, and then Lucas Patrick, and then Matt LaFleur as well, which we'll get to in a second. I was excited to see that Lucas Patrick was going to have questions asked to him. I tweeted about it. I hope reporters don't ask terrible questions, and I did that because I knew what was about to happen. So let's go through what the reporters asked him. They first asked him to rate their beards, not to rate his beard. So they're talking about their own beards because they'd like to hear about themselves, all of the reporters there. That's very obvious. They asked about Bakhtiari. They asked about Dietzen and Van Lanen. They asked about the rookies, literally asked him to be a scout and say how good the rookies are, even though they know very clearly he could lose his job. Like, he's possibly a roster cut. And then they asked about the running backs playing behind him and stuff. Like, it was just the biggest waste of time. And then Wes Hod finally came in and asked about him. So I think this might be the second week in a row that I'm praising Wes Hod. I'm doing it again. Thank you for being a legitimate reporter, journalist, whatever. Like, you have a lineman and people just ignore the offensive lineman like they don't, like, because they don't know anything. They don't know how to analyze them. They don't know how to scout them. They don't know legitimately how to have a conversation with them. Like, they're asking, like, so how about the Green Bay guys, right? Pretty cool that they're back in their hometown. Awesome. Oh, how about these running backs? They're really good, huh? Like, they don't know anything. They don't even ask about Lucas Patrick when he's the veteran on the offensive line with Bakhtiari out. He's the anchor. He should be the starting center. He is clearly one of the more talented offensive linemen they have. Like, it just makes zero sense, and it was the biggest waste of a press conference that they may have had yet.
These reporters with the offensive linemen, well, really with anybody, at least to this point, it seems like when you meet a mutual friend of a friend that you don't really know and you're just trying to shoot the shit, finding things in common, it's really sad. And it's, it'd be one thing if it's just offensive linemen. Obviously, offensive linemen are just as important, but they'll never be looked at it that way because their job is kind of thankless. But for it to carry over to defensive tackles, literally asking Shamar Jean-Charles, what did you do on special teams? It's concerning, and I think it's really concerning because if you don't ask these questions, you're not going to find out stuff that points to accountability where it needs to be had within the organization. Because when these guys are talking, we're finding out some very interesting stuff like, hey, defense coordinator has not talked to one of our first 2 draft picks at all. So it's kind of sad because I think we can learn a lot about even more dysfunction within the organization.
Yeah, like I figured it out today, and it should be obvious, and I guess I can't blame him, but I know for sure what the Packers reporters do now. Like, they already have headlines already written up before they go into the press conferences, or they have stories already, they know what story they want to write, and they're looking for a specific quote that they can spin or to use in the headline, or to be buzzworthy to promote their own personal brand. And that's why they asked A.J. Dillon immediately about the watermelons. That's why they asked Matt LaFleur about the watermelons. That's why they asked Lucas Patrick about his beard, about the Green Bay guys, about Bakhtiari. That's why they ask, it's just over and over again. They look for the specific buzzworthy thing so they can just insert the specific quote into the tweet so it gets retweets. They're not actually interested in reporting or diving in deep into figuring out what's going on or even building relationships with the players they're asked to cover every single week. And again, can I blame them? No, because that's what their personal business is, and they're trying to, gain the popularity to continue growing up. Whatever. Technically, that's fine. It just hits me in a spot that's like, this is why I do sports media, because this is the specific thing that pisses me off. Like, they're not interested in real shit. They're interested in promoting themselves and getting clicks. And it's really making me mad. But that's what they're doing. Let's talk about the Matt LaFleur presser, and then we'll get out of here. So Matt LaFleur talked about right away, the watermelons. And then they talked about how it was a rough day for the offense. We talked about how Jordan Love couldn't fucking hit a single thing. Talked about Robert Tunian, and this is legitimately the only piece of news that came out of today. Robert Tunian is most likely going to be featured in the offense more this season. LaFleur wants to actually teach him how to run routes, which would be fantastic. He wants him to grow his role. He specifically asked him to come to OTAs, apparently, to which Tunian said that he couldn't say no to his coach. But it also tells me that he also talked to the wide receivers to come, and all the wide receivers said no. But yet, not a coordinated effort, which is fine. But the fact that Tunian's role is growing, I personally think it's good news. Luke, I think you're probably the biggest Tunian fan here. What's that say to you about his role going forward this season?
I mean, it's obvious that they saw what they got out of him last year. I know that we talked a lot about how Tunian was great last year, due in part to Aaron Rodgers being his quarterback. But obviously, he made his mark last year. Whether that's Aaron Rodgers or not, I mean, you can't deny the guy caught 10 touchdowns. He got open. He was there. I think there is a role for him in this offense, especially with them, not getting that second outside receiver that we've been yammering for. They got Amari Rodgers, but who knows what that's going to turn out to be. But it seems obvious that they're going to rely on Robert Tonyan this year to do a lot more than he did last year. This almost seems like he's going to be the guy. Obviously, Devontae Adams is going to see double teams. He's going to be shading. They're going to need Robert Tonyan, and based off what they saw last year, it seems like they're comfortable with that.
Janet, what's your thoughts?
But Janet, before you start, if you want to be the biggest Tunian fan, you got to show up and stop recruiting kids while we're recording. I don't know what to tell you.
She doesn't know that she's muted. She's still going.
Nope, absolutely not.
Still doesn't know.
Okay. Well, it was nice to hear from you, Janet. There she goes.
The mute. My dog was screaming. First of all, it's Tunian, like Funyun, because they're Tunian touchdowns. Second of all, I had his butt as my screensaver for a very long time.
That is questionable, but okay, for a teacher, that's not a good example to set for kids. But hey, if that's your recruiting effort, go for it.
And third, he and I have matching buns, okay? We wear our matching buns because we match together. So I am the biggest Tunian fan. And
he wore a ponytail today. He wore a ponytail today. It's too long to wear in a bun anymore. So
Janet's going to be in a ponytail tomorrow, so that sounds good.
Yeah. Sounds like you struck that comment, Zach.
Yeah. Oh. Well, she was muted. She was muted for most of it, so I guess I didn't get the full heat.
Yeah.
So,
you're just screaming to the camera to hear you.
Yeah.
It'll be a good visual clip for anybody that was here for it. It was good.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Luke is over here with the little private chat thing popping up, and it blocked my mute button.
Oh.
He was doing it through
Blame Luke. Gotcha.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
That's what you get for thinking you have the better hair bun than I do.
That is true. That is a good point.
No, my bun is better.
Well, if it makes you feel better, you're both better than me when it comes to hair buns.
Same.
Zach, I think you take a nice third.
Thank you. To wrap up, LaFleur's presser is the only thing that's getting reported today. The thing that Bob Demoski was just on SportsCenter for, because, guys, breaking news. Aaron Rodgers might not show up to mandatory minicamp next week. Is that a massive shocker to anybody, considering he already passed on $500,000 and not showing up next week would lose him another incredible $90,000, so even less than before. It's literally the only thing getting reported on. Apparently, it's big news, big enough for Demoski to write another story about it, big enough for him to be on a bunch of spots. And he also did the classic anchor cadence when he talks, which bothers me more than anything ever. Like, I think they teach every sports anchor and newscaster ever to use the same cadence when they speak, and it pisses me off.
That's why I hate listening to Kim Jones. No, Zach, you thought there's some other bigger news, and that is AJ Dillon's quads.
Yeah. He said he has the biggest quads, which isn't even true.
Yeah, Zach, I was all for it, but you got to watch what you say about Demoski, okay? Because we know he's watching, looking for something to quote without citing us at all. So you got to be a little nicer to him. Hello, yeah. Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Glad for you to be here. Cite us, please. Don't be a douche. But yeah, hey, when all the reporters in the Packers organization are asking offensive linemen about beards and asking rookies about, well, what did you do? It's really not too surprising that the lead idiot, the head of the morons, is going to go on national TV and give news that really anybody with brain cells that can connect three dots could be able to figure out. And it's just going to be more articles are going to use this. You're going to see a ton of articles popping up. Just know that none of this means anything. Don't give them the clicks. And I'm not even saying that to say go to us instead. I'm just saying save your time. Don't even waste your time on them. They want your clicks, and guess what? If you don't give them clicks, they're not going to post shit like this.
The also big thing, what they're doing and succeeding at, they're turning the fan base against Rodgers, which I didn't realize was happening so overwhelmingly. But if you're one of the Packers fans, I think like most of us who are on Rodgers' side, understand you're surprisingly in the minority right now. And it's because the big organizations who are connected, obviously, to the NFL are trying to make it so the fans stick with the team, which is better business in the long run, obviously, because who cares? Aaron Rodgers is going to retire soon anyway. You need to have people watching whether Rodgers is there or not.
And if the reporters go against the team, well, there goes your exclusivity, your interviews.
Yeah, that too.
I'll speak on that too, of the narrative turning against Aaron Rodgers. Just from firsthand experience, talking to people at the bar, talking to people down by the stadium, my job, whatever. I would say that's not Shamar Jean Charles. But a majority of people don't want to see Aaron Rodgers back on the team anymore.
No.
It's a media narrative that's just been spun in an incredible way. The guy who's carried the franchise since the Super Bowl, people don't want to see him because he wants a little bit more money in their words, which just seems to come from the media's words, which seems to change this whole narrative. Everyone thinks that a lot of people around here think that Aaron Rodgers is a pretty boy. He's a diva that should have never been on the Packers in the first place. I've heard that one a couple times too.
Heard that a lot.
Yeah.
And literally, the only thing that keeps getting repeated is diva, pretty boy, arrogant, and wanting more money. Like the biggest narrative I hear every single time. Oh, he hasn't been paid enough money yet. Like it's so stupid, bro. Like,
Aaron Rodgers. We know you're watching. First of all, love you. Second of all,
how's Hawaii?
Yeah, we need to know.
Say hi to Malik
hopefully, yes, very true. Hopefully the relationship's
Patrick
going well.
Mahomes
I'm looking at the camera, speaking right to him right now. We are only one of two podcasts that actually cares about you as a person, and that actually realizes this organization is a complete dumpster fire. So talk to us. You don't even have to talk about the team. Honestly, we'll talk about your favorite cereal brands. We'll talk about Hawaii. We'll talk about dancing. We'll talk about your Malibu beach house. But this is a safe space, Aaron.
Just to go back to the whole media narrative changing, it kind of became evident for me. I know this isn't Packer related, but about Damian Lillard last night, he had 55 points and they lost, whatever. And a lot of people in the media were saying, trade him, get him more money, get him whatever he wants. And that's what they said about Aaron Rodgers too. And now that's spun into Aaron Rodgers as a diva. It's crazy how these change within 2 years.
It's insane, man. Like, I don't get it. Like the words, he's been in front of the camera and his actual words have been seen, heard, quoted one time. And the only time he spoke was him saying it's about the people and that he's basically not being treated like an individual, not a, someone with a legitimate voice. And that's the one report that somehow isn't continuing to be quoted. And so, I don't know. It's really bothering me. Should we at Flurry Sports come out with a Packers article every single day, like copy and pasting the report from the day before, saying the real thing? Because that's what everyone else is doing, except with the false reports.
1, yes. 2, I think we need to make T-shirts. Aaron Rodgers and Blake Bortles, the boat and the goat. I feel like there's potential there. There's real potential.
Zach, I saw a light in your head.
I'm thinking of a little sailboat in the middle of the ocean, right? Blake Bortles kicking back, ripping cigs. Aaron Rodgers just like pointing off into the distance like George Washington, crossing the river.
Trademark.
I do like it. There's something there. That or the other thing that popped in my head was Step Brothers instead of boats and hoes. It was boats and goats. I think that could work too. There might be something. We might have something brewing because, oh my God. If Blake Bortles gets cut, I might cry. I think I'll record it for you guys.
If
but
Blake
we need.
Gets cut, You have my word. Actually, not really, because I can't speak for anybody else but myself, especially since Janet's in Texas. If Blake Bortles gets cut, we are all going down to Lambeau Field with picket signs, and we're going to take it and film it for at least an hour. We're going to get no attention, but we're going to try.
Sure. Then we'll go to the bar, maybe run into Shamar. You know,
Gotta be
we'll
careful.
drink. We'll drink until we see him there, whether he's there or not.
For all I know, I was just
You have
talking
to
to
drink.
a pull tab machine.
Possibly.
You have to drink. You have to drink vodka Red Bulls in order to see him. That's the cocktail.
That's how you summon him. Luke, let's send us off. Do you have one last thing to leave us on here?
I do.
How's the squirrel? What's the squirrel deal? You never told me.
We were just out here last weekend, and the chipmunk ran across my my deck here right by my feet while we were recording. It startled me. But on our fantasy football show earlier, all the birds and rabbits were like fighting each other, and squirrels. It was like melee out in my backyard. But it's dark out; I can't see anymore. But last week, I brought up the question: you can take 3 players to start your Packers from the NFC North. Now I'm taking. You get the whole Packers team. You get the Packers team as it is. Let's assume Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback. You can have any player in the league to add to the Packers. Who do you guys want?
Ooh.
I can go first, Zach, if you need to think about it.
Yeah, go.
Devin White. 1, because he scares me. He is a terrifying man. 2, I feel like he puts up with absolutely nothing, and he would yell at Gutekunst and the entire front office until they all quit and were scared. And I think that solves a linebacker problem, and I think that solves a front office problem, and that leaves the door wide open for either Devin White to be the first president GM player of all time, or, hey, Zach Bruner campaign. I'm down for it.
He would for sure scare Good out of town. Like there's no chance he'd stick around. I'll go with Jalen Ramsey, just because I think pairing him with Alexander would be stupid, and it would let Joe Barry not fail with his all-out blitz scheme. Like we can put those 2 on an island and surprisingly survive, at least long enough for the rusher to get to the quarterback. But if you have Devin White and Jalen Ramsey, that'd be disgusting.
So,
what about you, Janet?
Go ahead, Janet.
Gardner Minshew. He doesn't even have to play. He just could stand on the side with his mullet and his shirt ripped open. It is with his jorts in like 10-degree weather
who
on the
Janet's current
sidelines.
background picture is on her phone.
Yeah.
Just to be standing on the sidelines in like 10-degree weather, drinking beer. He doesn't even have to play. He just needs to hang out and tailgate.
So Trevor, I think it'd be a little disingenuous for one of us not to say Todd Gurley. So I'll say him. But if we're being real, I would like kind of in Zach's realm with grabbing 2 studs at one position with Jalen Ramsey and Jair Alexander. I'm going to go with Devontae Adams and grab Tyreek Hill. I've been on the offensive side. Everyone who's ever watched me, Zach, and Trevor talk know that Tyreek Hill's my guy. And I think that Tyreek Hill is more valuable to Kansas City than he would be to Green Bay. And I think we could use him more in the special teams area as well. So we could kind of fill that number 2 deep threat receiver that Marquez Valdez-Scantling occupies, as well as being a punt returner.
Yeah, you couldn't defend it because like you can't man cover him or Adams.
Right.
Yeah.
But hey, guess what? If Jordan Love is a quarterback, doesn't matter because he's just gonna miss.
That's a good point. Let's leave the people on that. Oh no. Okay. Well, this was Lombardi Sweep. This went off the rails as much as I assumed it would, and that's what you can expect. We will be back again next week. Remember, if you want to listen to the audio version of this, you can find it wherever you listen to your podcast. Rate us 5 stars, you bastards. And that is it. Goodbye.
If anyone knows Charles, let us know.
Yeah, guys. Bye. Bye.